Right, it is 6 o'clock. We'll call our meeting to order. Up with the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Right, we have our council activity reports. I didn't have any meetings the last 2 weeks. It's been a little bit quiet for me. Turn it over to Paul.
I didn't have any meetings either, but I did go to the tree lighting ceremony at Gazebo Park.
How was that?
Good. Cold,
Yeah,
windy, but it was well attended.
good. Got the joy of planning a daughter's birthday party, so, you know, woohoo. Cleaning my house.
Yep.
Megan.
I didn't go to it. I was at work, unfortunately, but I heard it was good, and then the meetings I had were all rescheduled, so it's a pretty calm couple of weeks for me, too.
All right, Neil.
Nothing, absolutely.
All right.
I was out of town, so didn't make the parade and festivities.
Donna.
I attended the tree lighting at Gazebo Park, and that is it.
Okay.
I did have Public Works
Oh, yeah, just before.
for.
All right, department head reports. Dan, how are things going in Public Works since we're talking about it?
We came out on the 30th, we plowed the whole town. Then we were just out, Friday we plowed again, and Saturday morning. Today we did plowing again, Lee ran around, I did the airport for the third time. And our plan is, we're gonna come, because we have a little snow now, we're gonna get snow all day tomorrow. So our plan is to come out Wednesday morning, 1 a.m., and go through the whole town.
Okay.
And then do cleanup, have the whole uptown done, everything done by 8, 9 o'clock.
Okay. How has that been working out so far?
Good, I mean, when we all go, it's gone really well. It's these nuisance snows that, you know, you get a little here and a little there, and, you know, people would wish that we'd be out more often, but we only have so many people, and you can't go out every day, you know, every third day is plenty, you know, we get as many as we can in there, but today we only had 3 of us. We only had 3 on Friday. So we're squeezing it in. I'm jumping in the truck right with the guys on every one of these.
Good. I know there was a comment, I try not to govern by social media, but there was a comment about alleys not being done.
No, we haven't. I tried to go through the alleys on Friday. I went down 2 of them and it caused I dug up quite a bit.
Okay.
They weren't hard yet. So we discussed it. We decided they need to be packed down a little bit more. Probably this next event now, when, you know, we get enough that they can't get through because there's gonna be enough of a layer.
Sure.
We'll go through and skim them off, but
Okay.
on Friday yet, they were just way too soft.
Fair enough. There's only so much you can do. Any questions for Dan? Okay. Bill, I'm putting you on here because you're here and I want to hear how the new liquor store is going. How are things going over there?
Really well. We opened up on the 20th of November, trying to be open before the Thanksgiving holiday. Since that time through last Saturday, sales are up 16%, so that's been a big win. A lot of people walking through, taking a tour, which we enjoy. We still have several things we're finishing up, price tags. I'm actually working overnight doing inventory right now. Soffits, we're still waiting on the sheet metal there. We got the post in for the sign. We're having a little trouble with electricity getting there. Sounds like they're formulating a plan to try and figure out how to get electricity out to that. The conduit was cut by someone else putting underground works up to the store. But we have the post. They came Friday and put the Painesville Liquor on the side of the building, which looks really nice. Sounds like I talked to Dustin or Dylan this afternoon from the electric company, and sounds like they're trying to get there the next day or two to wire that up, so at least we'll have that part going. They're trying to come up with 3 different plans to figure out how to get electricity to that sign. So that was supposed to go to Project 1 today, but no, everything's been going really well. It's been for the most part, really fun. So we're having a lot of fun. So
I was talking to Belinda earlier, and she said you going out there on a bike with the generator was an option.
it is December.
No, things are going well, though?
Yeah, very, very good, very good. I'm very pleased with the way we're starting off. We get that sign out there that faces 23, that's just going to do nothing but help. So there is a lot more to shovel over there than where our previous place was. So we're got a snow blower today. That came today, so that'll help us tremendously. So,
You said up 16%?
yeah. What'd she say?
Nothing. I'm just, we're talking about the budget later and what was removed and what maybe could go back in.
Oh, yeah.
All right, any questions for Bill? All right, Tarek, how are things going?
Well, been a pretty light week. Really didn't have much. I mean, we had Public Works today. Other than that, last week we had a little gathering for someone who was retiring from Public Works. And yeah, after Thanksgiving, it's been pretty quiet.
Thank you for reminding me of that gathering. I was able to stop in for a few minutes with that. I also, along with Paul, we helped move the liquor store a little bit, so, you know, don't say we're not good for nothing. Okay, anybody here for our open forum? All right. Moving on then to the adoption of the consent agenda includes the minutes on page 1, the vouchers on page 2, gambling permits, off-sale liquor license, police department donations, tobacco licenses, and so on and so forth.
I'll move to accept the consent agenda.
Motion by Brick, is there a second? Second. Seconded by Thielen. For the record, Councilmember Potter discussed with me whether I thought she should abstain since Teals is getting a tobacco license. My understanding, Donna, is you're not getting any direct financial benefit from this. Your salary, your wages don't matter. If you get the tobacco license
Correct.
over there, I don't think it's necessary for you to abstain. Somebody with a law degree can tell me if I'm wrong later, but I don't care. All right, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None, motion carries. Okay. Oh, I will note, we do have a truth and taxation hearing coming up at 6:30. So I think everything budget related will probably just table until then. Belinda, Dan, Tarek, do we want to talk about the water and sewer rates or just come back to that after the budget discussion?
I think that'll just go on with Dan's presentation.
Okay,
That would make sense.
so we'll just take that up later then. Yeah. Let's move on then to page 78 of the agenda, the hiring process amendments. And it says that I get to give a report here. So policies and procedures sat in on the interviews for the new Public Works employees. And we discussed afterwards whether it was going to be necessary for us to continue to do so. Historically, and by historically I mean ever since I've been on the council, the policies and procedures sat in on all interviews for any full-time employees. We don't remember exactly when that was started, but that's how it worked. And what it means is that it's cumbersome because right now, policies and procedures is Megan and I. Megan works overnights and my schedule is chaos. So trying to get employees scheduled, we just thought it's really not necessary, except for those department head positions and like the city administrator. There it really is important to get more of a full council input. But otherwise, I think we've got good department heads that I trust to make decisions for their staff. So policies, procedures discussed it, talked with HR, and we recommended the changes that are included in here. So that's just, you know, really looking at the department heads to do the interviewing, except for a department head position. Any comments on this or a motion on it?
Yeah, I don't feel the need to micromanage the department heads on their hiring, so I will move to approve the hiring procedures.
There's a motion by Megan to approve the new hiring procedures. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Hersberg. Any further discussion? We'll say, I think in all the interviews we've done, there was only one where I've raised a concern. No, two. And on one I was proven right, and on the other one not. So, there.
50/50.
50/50. All right. Any other comments? All those in favor of the new procedures indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None. Motion carries. Bill, you want to sell some stuff?
Yes, with the new move to the store, we've purchased all new shelving. We're able to reuse all the shelving that was in the cooler for our back room supply. So we have all of our wooden shelves and all of our gondolas, et cetera, in the store, plus a bunch of displays that you can see in the pictures that were no longer needed. We'd like to get all this stuff on the surplus property. I did have somebody from another liquor store come and look at the shelves last Thursday night before our event. And, yeah, we'd like to get this posted so somebody can come pick it up and we can get that area cleaned out.
Right, so we're looking for a motion to deem the property listed here on our action sheet as surplus property.
So moved.
Motion by Brick, is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Thielen. Any further discussion on this?
This will be by bids?
Yes.
Yeah.
And Public Works is in the process of taking stuff off the shelves. They were great. I went down there tonight. They got a really nice start, so we tried to get everything out of their way that we could, kind of put it in the corner. Wait, we're gonna have a dumpster coming in here in the next week.
Okay.
Just leave it for Teals to deal with, Dennis.
I was just gonna set it outside. Yeah.
All right. There's a motion by Brick, seconded by Thielen, as stated on the action sheet. Any other discussion on this? Hearing none, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
You opposed? None? Carries. Right, page 85, the cannabinoid license fee change. Tarek, I see we're dropping this quite a bit. My understanding is that's because of the state statutes that limit how much we can charge, yes?
Yes, that's it. I mean, that is the most we can charge, so we can charge less if we want, but we can't charge more.
Okay.
We have a proposed resolution, 2025-39. This proposal is for the statutory maximum, noting that before we were charging more, so I think it was safe for staff to assume we just want to do the maximum here. Is there a motion to adopt this, or do we want to have any further discussion on it?
A little discussion.
Yeah, go ahead, Neil.
Why is the state doing it so cheaply?
They don't want to overfee this industry, I guess.
They're charging us more.
Oh,
They want the dollars, not the cities.
Oh, yeah, they do.
yeah, from 500 to 1 1/4. Did we even have established for the, 2,500 one? No,
I don't think we did.
no.
No, that's the state's initial fee. That was the state's initial fee. Ours was 500.
Oh, were we 500 before?
Yes.
Okay. So we're really only cutting the one.
Correct.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, with that, do we have a motion on the resolution setting the fees?
I'll move to approve Resolution 2025-39, amending license and fee schedule.
Motion by Brick, as stated on the action sheet. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Thielen. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None? Motion carries. All right, page 27, we have 2 applications to sell cannabinoid products from Quick Trip and the off-sale liquor store. Is there a motion to approve these?
I'll move to approve the 2026 cannabinoid licenses for the City of Painesville, DBA Painesville Municipal Off-Sale Liquor, and Quick Trip number 598.
Motion by Brick to approve the licenses. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Potter. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. All right. On to the Highway 55 bridge construction. Chuck, and please take your sweet time. We've got 16 minutes to kill.
I can read it, I guess.
Go ahead.
It's, so what in your packet is a copy of a cooperative agreement between the city and MnDOT. Anytime MnDOT does a project within the city limits that involves city funds being part of the project, there's a cooperative agreement. It really lays out the roles and responsibilities of both parties. The particulars for this cooperative agreement is the street lighting around, or the lighting around the bridge, as well as the new trail that they're installing as on the part of the project. Based on an old cooperative agreement that I think from about 40 years ago, the city is responsible when they do replace the lights in that area along 55. The city's responsible for 75% of the lighting costs. It's actually 75% of the new, 100% of the demolition of the existing lights. So those costs are estimated to cost $31,701.51. Now that amount is an estimate based on MnDOT's estimate. As MnDOT seeks bids here in a couple months, once the bids are received, we would get an updated Schedule I, is what it's called, that will lay out the exact cost based on the bids received. At that point in time, MnDOT would invoice the city up front for these costs. They don't collect at the end, they invoice you up front. And then if there's any differences at the end, it gets reconciled at the end of the project. A couple things to note is moving forward, the city would be responsible for the lights moving forward as they have been in the past 40 plus years. In addition, it lays out some responsibilities for the trail that's going to be located on the bridge. The city's responsible for the snow removal on that bridge and other routine maintenance. These are pretty boilerplate agreements. We've tried to get MnDOT to change some of these, but they're not. The Attorney General is not into doing a lot of changes to these cooperative agreements. So, with that, is there any questions?
This has been tabled from our agenda quite a few times.
When it was originally put on the agenda, they had the cost breakdown. They had the city paying 100% of the new replacement lights. And it's actually should have been 75%, so the new agreement has reflected the 75%.
Did we budget for this?
It wouldn't be in the general fund. It's going to be in the trail fund.
Which trail? I mean, the lighting.
I would assume that would be in the trail fund.
Yeah, we're considering it as part of the trail.
Well, I thought lighting would maybe be more street, no?
Well, when we planned the trail that goes through there, we didn't plan to do the project along Highway 55 until MnDOT does the bridge, so we aligned it together like that.
So it'd come out of our trail.
Yeah, we're not paying anything for the trail along the bridge. They're gonna put that in there for us for free, but they asked us to help pay for part of
But
it.
we didn't budget for this year, our 26 budget, so.
Nope. Well, I guess I shouldn't speak, Dan. You did the trail and the streets. I don't believe you did, though.
Specifically, no.
As part of the trail, MnDOT is putting 2 decorative street lights on the trail or on the bridge for the trail, and those are not being charged to the city. The future maintenance will be, but the initial installation is not. These are for the particular lights we're planning for, are some of the street lights adjacent to the bridge.
Great. Any other comments, discussions, questions? We have 11 minutes until our Truth and Taxation meeting. Otherwise, I'm just going to call a recess until we come back. Okay, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make the motion to approve MnDOT Cooperative Agreement number 1060658 and Resolution 2025-33 for the 2026 Highway 55 Bridge Reconstruction Project.
I'll second.
Motion by Hersberg is stated on the action sheet, seconded by Brick. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? None, motion carries. Right, we do have a few things left on our agenda. We've got the informational things here on the end, a couple of township hearing notices, meeting minutes from the lodging tax board. We do have a couple of closed sessions. One is on our update, for Tarek's annual review, and then we have discussion about the extension of Dan's employment contract as Public Works Director. I suggested that it would be a good time if we did an evaluation there as well. So that's on the update. Those will both be in closed session. I think just given the timing, I don't want to rush through either one. So I would say we will stand in recess then until 6:30. We'll come back and we'll open with our truth and taxation hearing. Thank you. We'll be adjourned or in recess for about 10 minutes. All right, it's 6:30, so we'll convene our meeting again or regroup here. And because it's 6:30, we've got our public hearing on the truth and taxation, and I will turn it over to Belinda.
All right.
Tarek is signaling your direction.
I'll start with the general fund. If you go to the first slide here, it just tells you that we have to have it done 5 working days after December 20th. That's the last I can present to the council. If you go to the next page, the 2026 tax levy summary shows the general fund levy at 1.266770. Tax abatement is at 10,500. You've got your 3 bond payments that we're still working on in there for 310,459, giving us a grand total of $1,577,729. Next page goes into a little more detail on the expenditures. Going through it kind of line by line, the mayor and council, the main increase there is for legal fees. We are with a legal firm out of the cities, which is a bit higher than what our local law office was. Administration, 6.6% increase, that's salaries and legal. General planning, 7.7% increase, that's salaries and engineering. Motor vehicle, or excuse me, municipal building has a 29.7% drop. That is transferred to the capital improvement. The roof is done, so we could lower that transfer. Motor vehicle went up 12.9, that's strictly salaries. Police department went up 7.2, that encompasses salaries. That changed to health insurance where they're 100% covered now. Fire protection went up a little over 20%. That is transfer for the new fire truck. That is mainly what that is. Building inspection, 8.4%. That is salaries. Let's see, streets and alleys went down 12.2. That's lowering the transfer to capital improvement seal coat. Library went down 33.8. That's lowering the transfer to the capital improvement fund. Parks went up a little over 3%. That is salaries. Cable went down 17.6, that's allocation of the salaries. The individual that is paid through cable is also paid through motor vehicle, spends enough time at the motor vehicle counter, I increased her share to the motor vehicle department. EDAP transfer, last year we did a portion of the transfer trying to balance the budget a little bit better. Went in at 19.8, it was kind of a one-time thing. So this year we've got the full transfer in there of $104,220, giving us an overall expenditure increase of 8.7%. The next page is a graph just showing the breakdown in salaries and benefits. Salaries encompasses about 49.9% of the budget. The benefits are 6.4, and the remaining budget is 43.7. The next page is all of the departments within the general fund expenditure. The biggest share, of course, the lion's share is public safety. It always is. That comes in just under 41%. Then public works is after that. General government encompasses all of the kind of basic city services, your mayor, your admin, motor vehicle planning, election, building inspection, all the smaller departments. The next page is revenues in the general fund. Going through those, let's see. If you go down to license and permits, that went up 28, a little over 28%. That's, we have a third on sale now, which is fairly large. Rent went down 71%. That's just the placement of an audit entry, the way they do that. Elections is up 100% because it's an election year next year. We don't budget when there's not an election. Public safety went up 8.6. That is the revenue coming in from the fire contracts with the entities that they serve. The airport is 6.1%. That is strictly rental of farmland. Building permits, a little over 30%. That's permit fees. Motor vehicle, 4.9%. They had a pretty large increase of filing fees that went through last year. Special assessments, we bumped that up based on the last few years. We've been getting in several assessment payoffs, so the last 3 years have been substantial. Cable TV dropped with the MediaCom reduction in the fees we get for franchise fees. Sale of fixed assets, I increased again the past few years. We've had some pretty good sale of fixed assets, so I increased that. If you go to the graph on this, you're going to find the property taxes are the lion's share of it, 38.6%. Then you've got your state aid, which is your LGA monies, that's 26.4%. Charges for services includes rent, police protection, fire contracts, ambulance rent, airport, motor vehicle, miscellaneous encompasses different small grants, assessments, training reimbursement, several miscellaneous items. Next page just shows the local government aid over the years. 2026, we're at 862,310, and that just goes up a little bit each year, knock on wood. The next page is expenditures for EDAP. You'll see, let's see, salaries is self-explanatory, engineering is self-explanatory, professional services, that is legal fees. That we jumped up considerably. Other expenses, that was, it's $800, but it comes in at 19%. That is for travel. That was just sitting a little lower than it should have. And with that, I'll turn it over to Dan for his water and sewer budgets.
For the water and sewer, one thing that stands out a little bit is distribution. We dropped that one down 22.7%. The trend was going there. Somewhere in the past, there was a higher expense that wasn't following along, so we just dropped that to match the current trend. We had small increase in the base rate of water and the bulk water rate, just to keep up with time, so we stay a slight increase and don't have a large increase in the future. We just kind of keep pace with the way things move. On your sewer, there is not much change, everything stays pretty basic, but we did raise the sewer rates slightly. We went up 50-cent increase on the base rate, 6% in the bulk sewer rate. There is a change on the multi-user that is just a correction from, normally you'd see that raise, this lowered slightly. This is just to keep up with numbers from the past that needed to be adjusted slightly.
Liquor.
Well, when we started doing the budget for the new store, we conservatively budgeted to raise around 20% our first year, and that's kind of what we've stuck with. So our purchases are going to go up 20%, salaries up 16%, other expenses 19.6%, having a new building, we're going to add a few more expenses, and then the transfers will go up as we make our payment. That will cover our payment next year, is the plan there. In the graph, you can see our biggest expense that we have is buying product, and that's how we make our money. Other expenses are 15.9, overhead 1.1, supplies 6,100 at 2.2%, and salaries is at 14.4%. As we go through our sales, we basically, raised 20% on the liquor, beer, and the wine. Other merchandise is 11.8. Tobacco sales, we're up 54%. And that's where we're at right now, so the move that number into this following year. THC products continue to grow as we did, I just like a side note, we did get our license from the state last Friday, so we are legit. Sales tax will go up 20% to follow along. Other revenues, that's where they do their audit adjustments. That's why this one always looks so funny all the time of a negative 50.8, because that's where they take that money out of. Is that correct, Belinda? No.
Partially, the other portion of it is last year you budgeted 10,000 for donation. You did a fire department,
Yep.
and you don't have that in 2026. So that was removing a $10,000 donation payment.
So as you look at, as a pie graph, our sales as a whole, 28.4% of liquor sales. Beer sales still remain at 42.6%. Wine is 7.8%. And you can see the trends. We match the trends that are going on nationwide right now. Tobacco sales, 6.5%. That is up. THC, 2.8% building the new store. That should help that go up to 4% because we like to match what everybody else is doing in the state. And sales tax is at 8.2%. And other revenues at 0.3% is our revenues that we're looking at for next year. And that's the liquor store.
And the only other thing in his expenses, the other expenses, you'll see the 19.6% increase. That is partially because of his depreciation, which went up considerably with the new store compared to just on his cooler before.
Right, so there is the presentation by council, or by staff, excuse me, on the budget for next year. This is a public hearing, so I'll open it up. If there's anybody from the public who wants to ask questions or be heard on our proposed budget for next year, feel free to step up to the podium. No one's expected to, but certainly this is the opportunity if anybody wants to, so. If you wouldn't mind, Joe, just when you get there, let us know your name so that the good folks at home know who's speaking.
Okay, my name is Joe Kramer. I live over here on 216 Business 23 West, 2 blocks down the street from here. And my taxes are going up 23.8%. And I've been looking at, valuation went up, about 30,000, not quite 50, 28,000 valuation went up on a home. And the homestead exclusion went down also about 3,000. So my home is an older home. It was built in 1892. It's been maintained fairly decent. I was wondering if what that in the city, if most of them went up that rate, or if mine got hit hard.
I will tell you, I can't speak for the city as a whole, but personally, my home went up by 50,000, so a little over 20%. Like others I know, I missed the opportunity to challenge that valuation earlier in the year or last year, so I'm stuck with it. And that was the bulk of my tax increase.
Well, I understand that, the value of the homes, what they're going for, like mine too, one sold in the block next to me for over 200 and something, so I guess that's what's driving some of these prices up.
Yeah, and I know that was with mine, it went up by a significant amount. Belinda did some homework prior to our meeting, and you said our increase for a $200,000 home is about $20 a month?
Yep, if you have a $200,000 home, the tax impact for the city at this budget as we sit is about $19 a year.
About a month, yeah.
If you have a $500,000 home, it's going to be about $56 a year.
Okay. Okay.
That's if your value stays the same. If your value goes up, that's a county.
But that's just the city portion, it's not the county.
Yes,
Right.
that is just city.
Yeah, because the city went up only 163 on mine, and the school district went up 56, and the county went up 103, so.
Yeah, I feel you, because like I said, mine did the same. But I know we've done a lot what we can here to minimize the impact. I know we took a lot out of the Public Works budget for streets. Dan cut a lot of money out there where we could. Most of the increases that we're seeing are salary things that we have to do. And I think the biggest impact is just because of how property values have increased so much. And that's really been the killer is,
I understand your costs are all going up at the same time. Thank you.
yeah, you're welcome. Because I think, Melinda, correct me if I'm wrong, but with the increased values, even if we stayed exactly the same, we're still going to be paying more based on that valuation.
Yep, yep. And you know, the lion's share of this increase too tends to hit your industrial businesses more than your basic homes. And as we grow new businesses, which we've done very well in Painesville, thankfully, that pie gets split out less and less for basic homeowners, which is super helpful. Oh, yeah,
Yeah, so as a commercial zoning, it's going to be affected differently.
yes.
Belinda, could you also speak a little bit on the discussion that's been sort of making headlines on these state mandates and the effect that that has on our overall
Sure.
budget?
We, we have a couple things that have come down the pike in payroll here in the last few years. ESST went live, I believe, January of '24. That is earned sick and safe leave. With the full-time employees at the city level, it really doesn't have a lot of impact because the council rolled it into the normal PTO, so our full-timers didn't get extra time off. The main change for the full-timers is the rules as far as how it can be addressed. If I call in sick, it's harder for the department heads to say no to anything with sick and safe leave, where PTO, you can. Where it affects us is part-time staff because they didn't get any type of time off before. And that's what it was initially designed for, was those in the hospitality industry. So it doesn't work real well for government, but we have to try to make the best of it. I think Bill's department probably sees the most use because other than him and his assistant manager, they're all part-timers. So if they have a sick family member, if they are sick themselves, if anything like that, that falls in the parameters of sick and safe leave, they can call in, get paid sick and safe leave, and then Bill has to find a replacement for him, so you're paying for both those people. My understanding is you thought it had been used maybe 15 times, you know, averaging $20 an hour. If someone works 5 hours, that's $100 a time, so maybe it's cost $1,500 to the liquor store. Public Works, we have a couple part-timers that have used it. Again, they don't get replaced, so their job just gets absorbed by the other employees. You have employees that call in sick that may choose not to use it. They want to build it up, so they don't get paid out when they leave. The next one is coming in January. That's going to be a really fun one, paid medical family leave. If you're familiar with FMLA, it's a similar concept as far as if you apply for it, it protects your position and your insurance benefit with the city. You can't be downgraded, you can't be replaced, et cetera, and so forth. However, with this, it's like a insurance policy through the state that the employee can get paid a partial wage. Depending on their income, what that percentage is, there's a calculator online to figure it all out. But that is for medical leave, it is for family leave, like bonding leave with the child, if you're caring for a parent. There's all kinds of uses there, and what happens with that is they would apply through the state and get paid a partial wage, and then they can cap it off with their PTO time or whatever, but there's substantial, they can take 12 weeks for family, 12 weeks for medical, with a total of 20 weeks per year between the two. So a good example of someone that would use both is maybe a lady who's pregnant, has some medical issues with the pregnancy, so she has to take off medical leave, and then she has bonding leave with the child when it's born.
And refresh, that was about $8,500
I
a year?
believe so, and that was a real rough guess, and that was actually at the higher, because of our risk factor, we actually were able to get a little bit lower rate on that from a private company, and the employee pays a portion of it and the employer pays a portion, kind of like FICA. It's similar to Social Security. A lot smaller percentage, but it's similar to Social Security.
So I'm looking at those, about $2,000 for the ESST and about $8,500 for the paid rent or family.
Tops, I would say.
So just based on a proposed tax levy of 1.577 million, by my math, that is 0.665%. I struggle to call that much of an unfunded mandate, but I think the county is going to be hit a lot harder with some of the cuts to DHS funding than the city will be affected. So that's where it's going to hurt. Any other questions then for the public hearing? Okay. And with that, I will close our public hearing. We'll take back our agenda on page 11, starting with discussions on next year's water and sewer rates. Thank you, Joe.
Bye, Joe.
We have a proposed resolution, 2025-36, setting water and sewer rates for the upcoming year. Any discussion on that, or is there a motion to adopt the resolution?
I did have a question on page 13. It says we charge for flooding skating rinks, swimming pools too, like in the summer? For, it must be when the fire department,
Yeah, the fire department.
Well, the fire department collects a donation for that, but I don't think we charge
That goes to
the
their
fire
relief. We
department.
don't see that?
Right, that doesn't come to the city.
or is this for the water? This must be for the water, minimum $25, $20 per thousand. Page 13, about 3/4 of the way down.
Yeah, so I think that would be if somebody wanted to rent to hook up right to the hydrant, right, Dan? Like if they needed it for a one-time use or something, or a limited scope.
Oh, that's bulk water.
Yeah.
If they rent a hydrant and use
Okay.
bulk water, they
Well,
pay.
it says, okay, provided for construction,
Yep.
flooding a skating rink. It'd be if somebody hooked up to a hydrant with.
If they rent a hydrant from
With,
us and whatever water they use, they pay a
Yeah.
base rate of.
I was thinking when the fire department,
Nope.
but that's, okay, good,
Do that from the truck, I think.
good.
Yeah, they-
Okay. Well, then I'll make the motion to approve Resolution 2025-36 regarding Chapter 34, setting water and sewer rates.
I have a motion by Hersberg adopting Resolution 2536. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Brick. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None. Motion carries. Okay. On to the 2025 budget on page 15. We'd like to start, we have to resolve the donation issue and what we're going to do there. Those are going to be on page, oh my gosh, I saw them.
If you go to page 47, that's your, oh, no, sorry, that's trail. I don't want trail. I want page 31.
31.
That's your
Thank you,
recreation
Belinda.
programs.
So in years past, it's been 6,250, 5,500, 5,000, and 15. There was discussion in the past about upping the top three by $500. Where did we want to land on this?
I recommend that we do the additional 500 because we had kind of okayed it, but it wasn't really official. I feel more comfortable for this year going the extra 500 that we kind of promised them.
The three others, you mean?
For the top three, we'll go 6,000 historical, 5,500 area center, 6,750 for community ed, and 1,500 for Lake Association fireworks. And I'll make that the motion if
Before I consider the motion for a second, where do you want the money to come from for that?
The extra 15,
Yeah, would it have to come out of reserves, I assume?
more than likely.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, so there's a motion by Hersberg to increase the donations to Community Ed, the Historical Society, and the Paynes Larry Center by $500 each, $6,750, $6,000, and $5,500. The fireworks at $1,500 with the increased money to come out of reserves. Is there a second to that motion?
Second.
Second by Thielen. Any further discussion on that?
Sean,
Yes, Belinda?
you said 6750 for community ed, 6,000 for historical, and 5,500 for area center, right?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay,
If I said otherwise, that is what I mean.
okay.
Yes.
Total is 19,750.
Yeah. I struggled to speak tonight, Belinda, but you got what I was going for there.
Just wanted to confirm.
Yep. All right. Any other discussion on that motion? Hearing none. All in favor of the increased donation amounts indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None. Motion carries. On to the rest of the budget. So a couple of things that Belinda touched on. One, as we're just looking at the big amounts here, I'm looking at sort of going back to our truth and taxation hearing, that slide where we looked at the increased expenditures. The election fund is up 100%, but that's only because we don't budget that in a non-election year. Next year is an election year, so that is going to be up 100%. The other one is the transfer to EDAP, which is up technically 425.6%. If you go into our agenda packet, onto the transfers page, which is on page 50 of the packet, you can see that historically we have been funding EDAP in accordance with really Tarek's salary, 66,000 in 2022, 75,400 in 23, 87,300 in 24. This year, we dropped that down to 19,800 to help lower the budget. And we said we were going to go up, and that tracks an increase for next year of 104,220.
Yep.
I am wondering, so part of the increased levy is because next year we're going to be losing out on the $40,000 from the liquor store. Would it make sense to reduce that EDAP transfer by $40,000 to reflect the missing revenue that would otherwise be there? That fund is healthy. It's not the loan fund. The loan fund could use some support.
Yeah, the loan fund is pretty depleted.
Yeah, but this is the other fund.
It's been getting lower, but it's still, I would say it's still in an okay position. I don't want to make it a precedent, though, to keep, taking away from it every year.
They could start using it.
We will have that discussion.
I don't, part of it is, that money doesn't get used other than to pay salary. And we've talked with the EDAP group about doing various grant things to fund downtown redevelopment, and there's been pushback. Recently, they've been okay with helping to fund the purchase of the corner drug building for redevelopment. I get that.
We might need it again.
Why
for
do we
redevelopment.
have $300,000+ sitting in an account that we don't touch when we're looking at a significant budget increase?
Well, when I first joined, it was over 500.
Yeah, that's true. We also weren't contributing to it then.
How much do you want to deplete it, though?
40,000. Just 1 year, one more year is what I'm thinking that maybe we should do, because we're not getting the liquor store revenue next year. Bill's gonna do a good job. I know we talked about 2 years, but he's gonna get it back up.
No pressure. No pressure.
No pressure.
We're gonna be all right.
I
Just a
trust
little-
you.
Little pressure.
That's what it says.
I mean, they'll be all right without it.
Well,
Here's the, well, go ahead.
didn't that 40 go for sidewalks?
No, it has not gone for sidewalks for years. It just simply
Oh,
gets
really?
absorbed into the general fund.
Because at one time it was sidewalk.
Years ago, like before my time.
Yep.
Wow, I'm not that old.
That's what we've always,
getting that old.
that's what we've always said for over the years. That's where it went.
So it just gone towards salary.
It's just in the general fund to go toward whatever the general fund needs to pay for. It's just,
I'm okay with it. They'll be all right without it, and, I mean, it's just a year. If something completely...
I'll remember that next time this year.
You do that. If, I'll call every one of them and tell them myself. If something comes up that all of a sudden is, you know, some huge deal that we can revisit it, but I'm not opposed to it this year.
So what's the downside to this?
EDAP doesn't get as much money.
And we're taking from Peter to pay Paul because we'll have to catch up to it in the next year, which we're already doing. But instead of catching up to it to the tune of 80,000, we're splitting it up into two $40,000 chunks.
So the end result's still gonna be the same.
Not this year, or not next year.
Gives
We'll
us
catch
time.
I mean, I just looked, Joe was here, his taxes are going up 23%, and the big bulk of that is increased property value, I get it. But when the county's increasing its levy, the city has to do it as well. There's not a lot we can do. I've looked through this, I've talked to Belinda about it. I know Budget and Finance has met exhaustively to figure it out. This seems like one area where we could try and do something.
I'm not opposed.
This side's been awfully quiet.
I prefer to leave it as is,
Okay.
How come?
because I think we're trying to move money from one spot to another to justify other reasons than what it was meant for. I mean, if we're gonna be, forgiving the money from the, transfer from the liquor fund, we knew that was gonna be one of the pains of having the new liquor store. We gotta
Yeah.
keep in mind, we don't have a payment on that, a bond payment for what, 3 years, 2 years? Something like that?
we figured for the first few years, possibly, he would not be doing as large, if not a transfer at all.
Right.
We've got a bunch of money in EDAP that we're just sitting on and have been sitting on for a long time. I don't know. I don't think.
You know, I don't know if it makes a difference, but we have some fairly large loans right now that are fairly new, that are paying a good chunk of interest. Goes to the revolving loan fund, but they do kind of go hand in hand.
Yeah.
So we are making some good amount of interest a month on our loans, on our loan payments.
I'm okay with the way it is, to be honest.
Well, I'll entertain a motion. I'm good either way. I just wanted to discuss it. And I didn't mean to cut you off, so go ahead if you had more to say.
No, that's, I know it's a little increase, but it's not, we've had worse amount and percentage-wise, so.
I do want to thank all the department heads who took a lot of time to figure out where we could keep things minimized as best we could. I know it was a lot of work this year, as it always is. Okay. Well, we have a resolution 2537 to adopt a city budget. What would we like to do with that?
I'll make the motion to approve.
Motion by Hersberg to adopt Resolution 25-37, the city's budget for the upcoming year. Is there a second to that?
You mean levy, right?
Nope,
Budget,
budget.
okay.
Levy will be the next step.
I'll
So I'm
second.
looking at page 75 of the agenda, which is the resolution. Total city budget of 3.279 million. Motion by Hersberg, seconded by Brick. Any further discussion? All right, hearing none, all those in favor of approving the budget indicate by saying aye.
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 All opposed? Aye. Motion does carry 4-1. All right, the 26 tax levy, page 76 of our agenda. We've set the budget, now we need to pass the levy for it. So that is, if we're looking at pages 76 and 77, the proposed levy, which is also on the screen, the general fund levy of $1,256,770, the abatements of $10,500, the various debt service levies totaling $310,459, for a grand total of $1,577,729. Is there a motion to approve Resolution 2538 for the tax levy?
So moved.
Motion by Hersberg, is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Thielen. Any further discussion on the levy? Don't anybody say no to this, because we just passed the budget for it. So. All right, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None. Motion carries. Right. All right, let me just look through my notes and make sure we hit everything on the budget. I'm looking over to my left. Anybody think we forgot anything here on the budget?
I think we got it all.
All right, so then, like I said earlier, we do have those hearing notices at the end of our agenda packet. Pay attention to those, they do affect us. Meeting minutes from the lodging tax board. And then with that, we've got a couple of performance evals that we need to do here. I'd entertain a motion to go into closed session to discuss those.
Move that we go into closed session.
So the motion, for whom?
Dealer's choice.
I'm gonna take them in order, that's how I'm hearing the motion. We have a
Yes.
motion by Brick to go into a closed session to do a performance evaluation on the city public works director pursuant to Minnesota State Statute 13D.05 subdivision 3A, which allows for a closed session to do a performance evaluation.
Took the words right out of my mouth.
When we come back out, we'll discuss our findings of that. Dan does have the right to ask that it be made public if he wants. And then we'll discuss findings when we come back and discuss the contract renewal at that time. Right, is there a second to that motion?
Second.
Second by Hersberg. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. All right. I'd ask everyone who's not council or Tark and Dan to mosey out. We will open in a few minutes if you wanted to hang out, but otherwise you can't be in here. Thank you, guys. Kristen says we're good to go, so we are public again.
Do you have
Right.
are you old school? Do you have a DVD player?
Yes, so we're back public. We did meet in a closed session to talk about an evaluation of the Public Works Director. We have to go over our findings. I think overall, council would agree, somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but Dan stepped into some fairly entrenched shoes in this department. Filling in for somebody who'd been with us for decades, and there are some growing pains. We had some concerns, but Dan's actions, especially recently, have shown that he's willing to take some steps and address those things. So, anything that, I don't want to go into the specifics of what was discussed, that's for the closed meeting, but that's where we are. So then the discussion becomes, what do we do with the employment contract? We're on page 104 of the agenda. We did cut off, Paul, towards the end, you said that you sort of had a comment or a proposal, and I said, button it, because we're in closed session. Do you want to start there?
Sure.
Okay?
Just a little preamble to this is that, I see it's a one-year contract. I agree with that for 1 year. We'll worry about it a year down the road. But I would like to make a motion to, hiring Dan for a 1 year, Dan Gens for a 1 year contract for Public Works Airport Manager from January 1st, 2026 to December 31st, 2026.
Okay, so the motion by Thielen is to extend the employment contract for 1 year. Is there a second to that?
I'll second.
Seconded by Megan. Any further discussion? I had something here. Tark, if I'm understanding this, this would be just in renewal, non-probationary, right?
Yeah. There's no mention of probation in the contract.
Right, yep, I just wanted to make sure that we're all on the same page. Yep, so this is, I think my preference would be to do 6 months.
Could you repeat that, Sean? I didn't hear that.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I was mumbling. So this, you're right now, for the first year, all the employees are on a probationary period. The probationary period with this contract goes away. My recommendation was that we do 6 months instead of a year at this point, and then reevaluate at the end of that for a potential year.
And does that extend the probation period, or is it, once the year's over, you're off probation?
That would be up to the council to move. Right now, that's not included in the motion.
I'm gonna stick with my original motion.
Yep.
And if I could explain a little bit.
That's what this is the discussion.
Pardon me?
This is our discussion period. Go ahead.
Okay. There's already been a one-year probationary period. Some of the issues have been addressed. If the issues come up, even though there still is a non-probationary period, these still can be addressed at that time. So I would prefer to stay with the one-year contract, and next year, come up to a conclusion of, did we make the right move or not? Instead of going 6 months down the road.
What is the benefit of prolonging probation? Derek, you had some legal advice, or?
But there's no probation. It's just a 6 month or it's a 1 year contract. So right now, the contract is 1 year. If we weren't to renew it, it would end at the end of the year. By doing another 1 year contract, it's the same thing. It goes on for 1 more year. And it'll have to be, renewed before the end of that time.
Any other comments, or otherwise I'll call the question?
So if we do wait a year, we'll still have the same council. Because next year's an election year,
Yep.
and that won't switch over till January 1st or around there.
Mm-hmm.
That'll give us, I would probably say, a lot better indication of where we're headed.
I'm fine with it.
Well, if there are issues like that were talked about during the next year, you do some counseling, and I suppose a written deal to put in the file, like my file was that thick, I know all about
Only that thick?
that. Yeah,
I like the idea that,
I took pride in it.
Imagine they ran out of paper.
that Neil, that you brought up, is that, would there be any trouble hiring somebody else within this next period of his contract? And we never know where it's gonna go, but that was a good thing to bring up. I don't think that we're gonna have too much of a problem hiring someone, if the need arises.
Well,
Well, we still have an opening, but
get it figured out.
Right. Well, we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the employment contract indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None, motion carries. Great. Thank you, Dan. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
You hand me those tobacco licenses that I jokingly refused to sign. All right, then we have an evaluation for Tarek. Somebody willing to make a motion for a closed session to discuss Tarek?
So moved.
Motion to go into closed session for the city administrator's evaluation pursuant to state statute 13D05 sub 3A by Brick. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Potter.
I won.
All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None, motion carries. Dan, we will say goodnight to you, sir, and let you get some sleep before you get to deal with the snow again in the morning.
For the next snowstorm.
Kristen says we're good to go, so we're back public. We did meet in closed session to talk about the city administrator's performance evaluation. I think overall, things went, Tarek seems to be meeting or exceeding expectations, and a positive evaluation. That's all I've got on that one. Okay. Thanks, everyone. We're adjourned.